Namaste everyone, and thank you for pressing play. To all the new subscribers, welcome. My name is Kerry. Namaste. Thank you for all your likes, shares and your comments and all your support. That's been huge. Thank you ever so much. And from so further afield, in other words, people that aren't in our immediate space, people that sit in the sidelines and provide us with the most amazing support. Everyone wants to be the leader until they realise the weight of responsibility. There's always going to be leaders and there's going to be followers. You see, those that have courage, discipline, determination, strength, they'll be the leaders. You know? Usually you'll find great leaders believe in something greater than themselves. And their life, their greatest strength. They know their limitations. What an amazing week we've just had. Disruption, disruption, disruption. Anyway, moving swiftly on. We have a very exciting week ahead of us. I got this piece of paper, which usually comes to me around about the Thursday-ish. And I noticed it's now a page and a half. And I thought, ooh. Either there's a lot going on or someone's waffling. So I looked into it a little bit and I thought, no, there is a lot going on. Not much waffle, but I noticed some other things. I noticed that this particular piece of paper is, over the time, gone through a refinement. Okay? It was like, this is kind of where we want to go, but we don't have all the details, but in faith, we're just going to keep moving forward. We're going to follow the signs. The signs are saying this direction, this direction. We're going to just keep following the signs. And like a force, we just kept moving, and we just kept moving. And over time, and I looked at this over the last few days, over my morning cup of tea, and I noticed some sequences and some refinement and some, yes, sequence is the right word, and yeah, no, there's a better word, it'll come to me, Okay, I noticed that Monday's the 9th, Tuesday's the 10th, Wednesday's the 11th, and 12th is the 13th. So 9 is completion. 10 is kind of learning the lesson, or beginning at 1 again, but now you're learning the lesson, the spirit, your spiritual mind. Also the words are starting to be refined to make it easier for people to understand and bring less confusion over time. So 9 is completion. 10 is back to 1, so you've learned, you understand the lesson, you see the lesson, let's say that. You see why something has happened, okay? And instead of going, oh, poor me, you're actually going, you know what? I'm the common denominator in all of these situations, okay? You may have fallen out with 6 different people. You're the common denominator in all of those 6 different people, okay? Those are 6 different people might not even know each other. You are the common denominator. Okay, so it's getting to that, why has this happened? Or something could have happened to you. You know, and you say, why does this always happen to me? Well, you're also the common denominator in that dynamic, you see. So it's about reflecting and understanding and learning the lesson and figuring out why. With working with people, I found very early on that if you could give people a little bit of an understanding of why something happened, okay, the why of it, it really is very helpful for them to move from that and not let that situation become their prison in their life and their limitation. So that's the 10th. Then we have the 11th, which is the threshold, and then the 12th. So this Thursday is the 12th of the 12th of 2019. I noticed that sequence. Then I noticed that each entry, each little paragraph, started with a fact, like Jupiter square Chiron retrograde, that's a fact. And then it stated either a challenge, each sentence began with either a challenge or an opportunity, except for one along here, which was basically saying, oh, we need to reflect on something. So it's not saying it's a challenge or an opportunity, it's saying, take a moment, let's reflect. Okay, I noticed that. So to let you know, we have this week 2 challenges, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 opportunities. Wow. That's wonderful. So we're going to go through them. There were other things I noticed. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. I noticed that Thursday the 12th, it's the 12th of the 12th of 2019. I already know 2019 is equals to 3, so 3 year. We've been working on it all year. But 12, 1 plus 2 is 3, and 12, 1 plus 2 is 3, so it's 3, 3, 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. It's a completion. This year it was a 3 year. We were working on the Trinities. If you could take that down to the deepest part of yourself, okay, you could have transcended your duality enough to experience that oneness with God, even for a moment, because then you know what you're working for. Yes? That moment to be one. You see, when you transcend that duality, which is always there, oh, I don't have a hairband. And then, what have you done with it? Anyway, circle. Oh, probably not the best way. It's not stable enough. Circle. You're one with God. Yes? But we perceive from the dualistic point, figure of 8, or that way. That way is relevant. You see, you're in the middle of that circle, really. I'll give you the snapshot. You're in the middle. In fact, if you perceive from the middle, you're a oneness, one with God. Okay, but we exist in duality, which can either look like that, up and down, or left to right, or anywhere in between. It's just a perception. Okay, so this is what we're going to help you do. All right, you're living in the duality, you're existing, and you're working, and you're thriving in the duality. And the way to do that with ease and majesty and glory, does it mean you don't have trial and tribulation? No, of course you do. Those are wonderful opportunities. Wonderful opportunities to keep at it and be able to not have to have more than just a fleeting moment of that oneness. To be able to transcend that duality and just see life from unity and then become that, be that. But you'll always have your own individual personality. Okay, so challenges and opportunities. Let's get through it, otherwise we're going to be here all night, all day. Monday the 9th, Jupiter square Chiron retrograde. A challenge to face and heal any tendencies to blame the world for a sense of being wounded in our sense of identity and struggling to take action. The aim needs to be on letting go of blame and a focus on returning to innocence plus the wisdom gained through healing. Okay, all of this that we're going to read is basically pinpointing us to one thing, which in essence, if we can heal this one thing, which is not one particular incident, one thing, that's it, problem solved. And that is what happened to you when you were young. Your first wounds, your first traumas, and then the conditioning. What is the conditioning? The conditioning is the conditioning of your society, the conditioning of any religious influences, the conditioning of any cultural influences, societal influences, clan influences, okay? Anything that takes you from being one, all right, to deciding I am different to someone else for this and this and this and this and this reason, and this is why, and I am correct. No. You're not. Also on Monday, Mercury enters Sagittarius until the 29th of December. An opportunity to expand the limits of the rational mind, to see the big picture and begin to mentally grasp how everything is connected rather than separate from one another. I just said that. Yes, everything is designed to help you understand that you are unity, you just perceive from duality, because you see things outside of you that look opposite. So of course, our Father provides everything to help us come back home. Come back home does not mean when you die, go to heaven, or if you're a beastie, you go to this hell, because hell is on earth or heaven is on earth. Everything is designed to bring you home to oneness, one with God, yes? And it's most magical. All right, moving on. I don't know your life. Tuesday the 10th. Venus conjunct Saturn, an opportunity to cultivate qualities like stability, responsibility, self-discipline, and commitment that allow long and lasting and stable relationships to be created based on mutual commitment and the honoring of boundaries. This needs to be guided by love and truth to avoid control issues arising in all types of relationships. All right, we're coming into, well, we're in the festive season, Christmas time. Many levels to everything. Some people go, oh, I don't believe in Christmas, it's commercialized, it's pagan, it's this and that and that. Yes, yes, if you want to take that viewpoint, yeah, all correct from your perspective. Let's look at the spirit of things, you see. At the core of it, you decide that you're a spiritual being, or you decide you're a human being looking for some external things to fulfill you or to make you happy. All these external things to make your life feel like heaven on earth. Heaven on earth starts inside. You see, it's upside down world. Heaven on earth starts inside, you know. Because how do you really know what your heaven on earth is if you don't know who you are? And if all of your life you believed you this, that, and this, and the next thing, because everyone told you, and that must be true, then you're going to create a version of heaven on earth that you think is heaven on earth. Like for some people, heaven on earth is strapping a piece of silk onto their back and flinging themselves out of an aeroplane. 30,000 feet. I don't know, is it 30,000 feet? That sounds very high. Anyway, 40,000 feet, I don't know. Flinging themselves out. To me, that's not a version of heaven on earth that, you know, if I found myself in that position, okay, that would be the miracle. I would avoid having to get myself into that position in any way, shape or form, but if life depended on it, yes, I would strap a piece of silk onto my back and fling myself out of an aeroplane. But I wouldn't do it for fun. For some people, that is just, they live to do it. They live to do it. We're all different, and that's okay. That's okay. So this is relationships of all types, okay? When people talk about relationships, they just think about the romantic time, my partner. No, this is it. This is, everything's under the spotlight now, okay? Everything's under the spotlight, because this is very, very important. We're going into Capricorn, and we'll cover that more extensively on another video. But it's all about stripping back everything that's not necessary. So that's already starting. All right, so a lot of stripping back of what's necessary. This can do with situations, people. Last week we spoke, the burden card came out. That was the beginning of it. Burdens. What doesn't serve you anymore? Certain relationships, maybe you belong to certain groups, certain activities. You know, sometimes they don't serve you anymore. Sometimes people within those groups aren't on the same level as everyone. It's time to move. It's time to strip back. So relationship dynamics, certain dynamics within relationships need to be ended and stripped back. It's a lot going on. Bringing us into that Christmas spirit. What's the Christmas spirit? The Christ spirit. Love, joy, peace, unity, miracles. We watch these Christmas movies. It's all about miracles and people being bigger and better than themselves, and people having courage and helping one another, and one person is providing a miracle for another person. It's beautiful, and it doesn't even matter what religion you were born in. Everyone loves Christmas. The lights down the street, yes, commercial. You know, don't partake of it in that way if it gets on your wick. It gets on my wick. I like to spend as little as possible and we'll get the most amazing things. Do you know what I mean? I like to go and get a Chanel handbag for 25 quid at the charity shop. For me, that is amazing. I don't want to spend £800 on Chanel. I can be buying lots of things for £800. You know what I mean? But everyone's different. Okay. If you want to do the commercialism, help yourself. Knock yourself out. Alright? But the spirit of it still exists no matter what. The spirit of it exists. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. That spirit of unity and love and miracles. Children, I love to watch children at Christmas. You know, and that wonder and majesty and presents, and it's all just magical, you know. Don't ever lose that innocence and believing in miracles. Yes, because then you believe in something greater than yourself. Okay. Also on Tuesday, right on Tuesday, Mercury trine Chiron. An opportunity to learn how our perception, thinking and beliefs affect our ability to heal the wound to the ego that undermines our sense of self, and ability to assert ourselves and take action to reprogram these traits, these tendencies of the ego, and to encourage healing rather than victimhood. Okay, so don't do the poor me, poor me, poor me. Do the I'm going to rise like a phoenix. Okay? Wednesday, the 11th. This is the threshold. Mercury in conjunct Uranus retrograde. Ooh, a challenge. This is a large one. Because I also noticed in the typing of this, when they wrote the previous challenge, H was a little a, and on this one it's a big A. I thought, oh, this must be urgent. All right, a challenge. To bring the spiritual mind and the intellect together, to allow us to perceive and respond to guidance from the Holy Spirit and our spiritual mind, and identify how to apply it at the level of day-to-day life. Thursday the 12th. Full moon in Gemini. An opportunity to reflect on how well we achieve a balance between logic and intuition. Another way we can say that is like this, a circle. Logic and intuition are not actually different. They all work together. Yes? We could say, there you go, that's logic and intuition. Logic on the left-hand side and intuition on the right. I do need a hairband, it's more helpful than a string of pearls in this application. Did I say about being open to new information and new experiences, which means you're going to have new information coming. Okay. When I'm reading this, you need to understand that events outside or inside of yourself will actually collaborate to bring these lessons to you. Alright, so having an open mind, are you open to new experiences and new information, which means it's obviously going to come towards you, so be prepared. Also on that day, Chiron turns direct. Thank you. Whew, the end of a period of reviewing how a sense of woundedness to our self-identity stops us from asserting ourselves. This began on the 8th of July, this period of review. This was the only thing that wasn't either a challenge or an opportunity, it was a review. But it's important, and applying the insights. Now, we did a dictionary definition of knowledge. What does the dictionary say knowledge is? And it basically said it was the ability to acquire and apply. This is what it's saying here. Since the 8th of July, you have been looking at your core wound. This is what I mentioned earlier. Your childhood traumas, your childhood wounds, your survival mechanisms that you created to survive in the world from that point, the conditionings that you were under, cultural, religious, clan, political, all of them, all of that. Also what's happening on the television, depending on what you plugged in. All of this is conditioning. Literally, it is a war for your mind, because it is what is made in the image of God, you see. You see, so if they can control your mind. So since the 8th of July, I found the numbers fascinating. I looked at this and I thought, okay, so 12 of 12 of 12, that's 9. This is the end of this period, the Chiron. Having a look at our wound, really going down deep. Of course, this last few months, since Scorpio season, to the deepest level, of course. But I found it interesting. So the 8th of July, 8 of 7, 8, 7 and 3, the 8th of the 7th of 2019, that's a 3-year. 8, 7, 3 is 18, 1 and 8 is 9. So we went through all the lessons 1 to 8 from the 8th of July. 8th of July. We went through all the lessons 1 through 8, relative to the childhood trauma wound from July, now ending, it's not a straight line, it's energy, you know. Thursday the 12th, the portal day, 12 of 12, the completion day, because it's the 12th of the 12th, 2019, 2019 to 3 years, we've got 3, 3 and 3, 3, 3 and 3 is 9. How well did you do? Did you become the beastie because the little child is still wounded? Did you choose the beastie? Because the child is still wounded and needs protecting. So the beastie has to protect the child. Or did you heal the child? Yes. Did you heal the child and let that childlike exuberance and life become part of your natural personality? But you're somewhere in that process. God bless you. Okay, we're nearly there. Friday the 13th, which is not a bad day. It's a really good day. Venus conjunct Pluto, an opportunity to face and transform the values and the basis of relationships. So what is how do you see relationships? What is valuable to you? Like some people it's a fast car, short skirt. For other people it's loyalty, stability. Different things for different folks. Everyone's got their different version of heaven. So to see the values and what is the basis of the relationships through the shedding of materialistic values and embracing spiritual values. At the same time, the basis of relationships needs to be one of authenticity and truth in order for truly empowered relationships to be possible. If you want a lasting relationship, I suggest you base it on truth. Okay? Because it won't. There's 3 things you really can't hide in life: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Okay? Because the truth is what reveals the lie. The lie will just remain the lie until the truth reveals it. And like the sun and the moon, the truth cannot be hid for very, very long. So we're going to be shedding everything that's not necessary. We're going to be saying, you know, I value relationships less on material things, money and all of that kind of stuff. What is really important, what is foundational. Because we're going into a new decade. We've just closed a whole load of cycles. It's all to play for now. One system is dying. We're quietly creating the other system. But you need to understand that, let's take a tree. It has roots. You don't see the roots. You don't know what's going underneath it. You just look at the tree. Oh, it's lovely. It's got fruit. It's amazing. But at the moment, you know, it looks a bit dead. All the leaves are off. Some of the trees. You know that in the springtime the leaves will come back. You have that faith, it's good. That's why it probably still comes back. Do you see how we keep the creation going? And think of a foundation of a house. You walk up to a house, you take a step over the threshold. What you might not realise is the house, there's a whole lot to do with the house that's kind of underground. We call that the foundation. You don't see the foundation, but if the foundation is not stable, what you build above the foundation is just going to topple. So at this time, we are working on our roots, you see. We're working on the roots, growing the roots, making plans for the expansion that will be visible above. It's like you're building in secret, but it's not a deception. It's not you building in secret, you're hiding something. It's just that, do you see the foundation of your home? Do you see it when you come into your home? If you have a basement, you can walk down into it. Yes, you see it then. But if you don't have a basement, you just walk, you just think the floor, that's the beginning of your house. It's the floor, it's the foundation. No, it's not the foundation. There is a whole lot that goes, I don't know what the legal limit is, maybe it's 1.5 meters. I don't know, I can check for you. But there's a whole lot that's going on underneath the ground that's not even visible to you. So this is the time when we're working on that foundation. It's like you want to make an extension. So now, you've gone to the architect, and he's drawing you up some plans, and you're going to engage a builder soon, and the builder's going to first build the foundations. And all it doesn't look like anything's happening. And the foundations need to be set, yes, and reinforced, if you know anything about building. And then once it's all set and reinforced and, you know, it's stable, then you can start adding the bricks, and that's what you see above the ground. Okay, then on Sunday the 8th, Jupiter trine Uranus retrograde, an opportunity to embrace challenges as a friend of the journey, and to allow insights from the higher mind, or the spiritual mind, to aid with expanding the mind to achieve greater levels of understanding, both of who we really are and what changes are needed to be made within us in order to bring about true external change. What devils do you have to get out of your heaven? Okay? Terribly terrifying statement I made right back in the beginning. Now you know. Yes, the truth is within you, but so is the lie. Which voice are you listening to? Because the lie is very, very loud. The truth is very, very quiet. You see, the truth doesn't need defending. It just is, and it is within you, so that when you hear truth, you recognize it by, it's a knowing. Okay, it's a knowing. Now I've told you before, we're getting on, so how long have we got? We need to move. I told you before that you need to make friends with yourself. So I'm going to make this exact statement, but use it the opposite way. Stop fighting with yourself, you see? I can say it that way. Make friends with yourself is one way to say it. Or another way I can say is stop fighting with yourself. Okay. Stop being an adversary to yourself. The voice in your head that sounds like your own, that is coming with the adversarial spirit. That's the adversary. You see, a city divided will fall. I said that before. I also said, whatever government you install in the Holy of Holies, which is you, has a responsibility to the collective as well, will determine if you have heaven on earth or hell on earth. Let me break that down for you. If you're listening to the lie, speaking the words of the lie, taking the action of the lie, you're installing the government of the adversary to run you. Are you a leader or are you being led? Are you prepared to take responsibility and therefore control of your mind? It is a war for your mind. Everything's designed to help you. There are other things that I can tell you, I only have a small amount of time. Actions you need to take. So I'm going to leave you with this one before we do the cards. I won't forget the cards. Make friends with yourself, or in other words, stop fighting with yourself. Okay. I didn't come up with this. I heard this many, many years ago, and it was from someone else, but it is absolutely marvelous. Thank you. I have no complaints. This is how we begin to change the habit, and we begin to disarm the adversarial voice, the lie. Thank you, I have no complaints. Now, part of the time that you've been listening to this, at some point you've probably gone, I don't know, you know, the voice is saying, don't listen, what are you doing? Oh, with this, don't. If there's truth within what I'm saying, I can tell you it's shouting at you. I can tell you it is. Okay. This is what we do. When the adversarial voice starts to complain, starts to judge, starts to belittle, even if it's in your mind, I mean, if you're speaking the words and taking the actions, whoa, maybe you need to make an appointment. But if you're at that place where it's just going on inside of you, there are tools we can have, very powerful tools. One of it is, thank you, I have no complaints. So when that voice is giving you that negative, adversarial, lying, deceptive, manipulative, and it's not saying be deceptive, manipulative to other people, it's trying to sabotage you. Because if all of that was gone, you would be the light of the world. So to stop you from being the light of the world, we have to have the adversary, which is inside of you. So that is why the truth will set you free. Okay, so for the next week, every time that negative voice says, because a lot of you are going to be going to parties, it's a social season, isn't it? The spirit of Christmas, we'll talk more about it next week. The spirit of Christmas. And how that's unity, actually. Everyone's going to get dressed and they're going to have their nice outfits on and they're going to look amazing. You're going to look amazing, but then your own preconditioning is going to go, oh, I don't know, I might look a bit fat in this, or I might need my pull-up pants, you know, my sucking fat pants. you know, a body shaper. And the voice is saying, oh no, you shouldn't wear that because, you look fat. No. Thank you. I have no complaints. It is marvellous at disarming that voice. Because the voice goes, oh. Then it has to go away and think of another negative thing to say. And it comes back and it goes, oh, but what about this? Thank you. I have no complaints. Sometimes I even use that when people are, wrapped up in their problems to the point where maybe they just need to be left to run around like a dog chasing its own tail for a bit until it pops out. And then you can deal with individuals like that. So I say to them straight, thank you, I have no complaints. They don't know what to say. It's quite marvellous. Okay, so that's the astrology. Wow, what a busy week. Now, last week I said I'd read Matthew 7. Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 7, and I didn't. Okay. So I am today. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For whoever asketh, receiveth, and he that seeketh, findeth, and to him that knocketh, it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you, whom, if his son ask bread, will give him a stone? If he ask a fish, will give him a serpent? Our Father will give you anything that you need. Any door that you need opening for you, He will open it for you. Any question you have, He will provide an answer. It's just which voice are you listening to? His voice is quiet. He is the authority. He doesn't have to be loud. Let's do these. Okay, what have we got? How many have we got for this week? Ooh. I'll get them on the floor. Everyone take a collective sigh. Again. 5, 6, 7. Any more? Oh, that's way too many. It is what it is. Okay. That's what it is. The novice, that's like new beginnings. Okay, we're going to go through this. Ooh, what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so having read this astrology, you can imagine that there's been a lot going on in our mind. It's about our mind and opening our mind. So this is the wind fairy. It's about thoughts, needs, thoughts, words, and intellectual, thank you very much, analysis. So we're going to be in our head a lot, or the potential to be in our head. Okay, you need to do something to help yourself, ground yourself out, take walks in nature. Is going to be very important this week. Because we also have the disruption card again, of course. It's like the chaos that order comes from. We read along there, but how adaptable are you to change? Change is your friend. You see, life is not a destination, it is a journey. Your soul has a journey way beyond this lifetime. Way beyond. I mean, we read in the scriptures, some people used to live 900 years. Imagine being alive for 900 years. How badly wrong could it go for you? How badly could you damage your soul being separate from God for 900 human years? Thank goodness we don't live that long. Woo. Okay, disruption. There's more disruption this week, guys. But you know what disruption also is? It's like, gets you in, it's about timing, actually. Like, we had an example. Last week when we did the video, we started it, and it was going fine, and then in the next room things kicked off. Not to do with us, but in the next room things got busy, and of course the sound affected it, so we had disruption. So we had to stop, and we had to do another session of activities, and then we had to try to do the video afterwards, which resulted in us all working very late. And it's things like that, because then people just happen to be in a certain place when it was necessary for people to be in a certain place. You see, had that video been able to be shot earlier, when it was planned, we were all here, we were ready, I was ready on time. I mean, that in itself is a miracle. But it ended up, it was disrupted, and eventually it ran a bit late. But the net result was that people then were in certain places later than they would have been, or at all, which was helpful for other things. So these disruption, it's not your enemy, it's your friend. It's your friend, okay? So it's about going with the flow this week. Go with the flow. Don't overthink things. Don't overanalyze. Ground out. Okay, then we have trust. This is saying, firstly, you might be a person that doesn't trust easily, so that's an issue you probably want to look at. It's also, but this trust is saying basically trust your path. You see, there's a pathway. Trust your path. Trust that you are on the right path. And basically, if you ask for the truth, Father, show me the truth no matter the cost. Teach me the truth no matter the cost. It can be about anything. You can be wondering why, you keep having this weird rattling knock on your wheel, and you could give the lift to someone and they can go, oh yeah, that's actually that problem. There you go. You know the truth of it. Or it could be something more fundamental to do with the relationship, or to do with the job, or to do with your, the next step on your path of your life, of your journey. What should I do? Should I apply for this job? Should I apply for that job? What is the truth of it? When you ask that, when you make that statement, show me the truth no matter the cost. It's the truth of everything, not just spiritual matters. So trust. This is telling me it's time to trust in something greater than yourself. That is greater than yourself is also in you. The thing that separates you from it is this lie, this adversary, which got into you when you were little. Exorcise it. Okay, communication. Of course, we're going to be talking about our feelings, in so much as from a mental perspective. When you do this, it makes me feel like that. Quite factual. But a lot of communication. So if you've been waiting for information to come, information is coming in. It's also about how you're communicating. Are you communicating from love and patience, or are you communicating from anger? Or are you communicating the truth? Yes, when you communicate to people, trust you. Now, that's interesting, because they won't trust. You might be trustworthy, yes. But because they aren't, they assume everyone else is not trustworthy. You see how vicious it is? You see, wherever you're perceiving other people as that too. They're not that, maybe. They might be very trustworthy, but because you, a porcupine, with your porcupines coming out your mouth, little beastie speech, you assume everyone's a liar. Yeah. Leadership. Pride and leadership, the stag. Are you a leader of yourself? Don't think about leading other people if you can't even lead yourself. Are you a leader of yourself? Pride, that's not the pride of life. That's the ability to stand up and have courage and say, this is who I am, this is who God made me, I am that I am. Excellent. We have independence, healthy boundaries. Yes, of course, when we're figuring out the dynamics of our relationships, it's a time where we institute and put boundaries in place. Some people, if someone has never been required to have any boundaries, they won't know how to have boundaries. So you will have to institute the boundaries and then maintain it. So in those instances where we have made boundaries with certain people, there's an opportunity for them to try and push across those boundaries. So boundaries are going to be tested, all right? If you don't have boundaries, then you need to be putting them in. All to do with getting stability within relationships. Because if your relationships are stable, that's half the problem, one, isn't it? Okay. The Queen, which is relative to feminine sexuality. or just sexuality in general, really. Feminine energy, fertility. Okay, so people could get pregnant this week. I know lots of people want to get pregnant. This is, yes, 12-12. Okay, feminine power, which is what's feminine power? Intuition. Men have intuition, of course, but they don't, their logical mind refuses to allow them to believe it. Yes, some are good with that, but you know, they wouldn't talk about it. Right? And friendships. So friendships are under the spotlight, as we read from the astrology. Wisdom. Wisdom is the most powerful feminine trait, quality. So can you imagine when Yeshua made Mary Magdalene into a man, which means she doesn't transgender into a man, it means that her masculine mind and her feminine mind became in balance. It became balanced. In a balance, they became balanced. She was then able to transcend the duality and be one with God. As he was, yes, as he was. Another lie, a great deception. 666. Feminine energy, wisdom. Apply your wisdom this week. Look for the truth, yes. Did I say communicate? I thought I did. When you are communicating with people, communicate with integrity. Because let me tell you, if you made it onto the 5D, and by now you already know if you have. Some of us thought we were on the 5D. We thought we made it. We thought we got the golden ticket, and we got snatched back on the 3D because we made one bad judgment call. One bad judgment call. For which there is forgiveness. However, literally the boat sailed out the port. What do you want us to do? Communication, make sure it's with integrity. Alright, just because you have to offer forgiveness, and you should offer forgiveness, because if you're not offering forgiveness to someone else, why should anyone forgive you for your wrongdoing? You're not perfect. You're not. I'm not perfect. Perfection is back in the Garden of Eden. Before partaking in duality. So when you transcend the duality, which you exist in, but your perception has transcended the duality, you're not partaking in good and bad, right and wrong. Of course, you have no judgment. Of course, it's easy to forgive. But you still have to have the leadership to set the boundaries with people. You can invite a poisonous viper to dinner every week for 13 years. And that poisonous viper is the life of the party, and everyone loves it. And then that one time that viper bites someone, and everyone says, oh my goodness, what happened? For 13 years, I could never have expected it. Well, when you invite a poisonous viper to dinner, there is every chance someone's going to get bit. And just because it behaves in a certain way does not mean it is not at its core a poisonous viper. You do not have to invite poisonous vipers to eat from your table. So you will have identified those people whose intentions were not good and who aren't part of your tribe. You have to set those boundaries. Okay? We spoke about forgiveness, yeah. Then we have the Grail Knight and the Eagle. Two of my favourites. The Grail Knights, the Holy Grail. What's the Holy Grail? The Holy Grail is union with, for me, union with God. That's the Holy Grail. But because that is happening in the unseen, yeah, doesn't mean that it doesn't translate to the seen. So it means the coming together of individuals who have the same soul's journey. This doesn't have to be romantic partners, although I'm telling you right now, there's romance, but also the illusion. Okay, we're coming into that festive season, bit of illusion. There's a lot of illusion around. Things may look like, because you're caught up in the moment. Don't get caught up in the moment. The office party, you know, la 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 la, and then for the next year you're going to work like this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't look at me. Yeah, you know. So there's also that illusion and the seeking the sacred. Seeking the sacred ultimately is that union with God, that sacredness, okay, and then you take that into the world, and then you meet with people. And if it's part of your path, this is also a time when people who have soul contracts to come together in a romantic fashion to birth things onto the world, you know. It's so marvelously magical. So, well, romance is in the air. And then the eagle, which is spirit, integrity. This is what I said. You got to, this week, well, you have to always operate from integrity. But what I'm saying is, things will come where you'll probably have a choice to, do I say like the whole truth, or do I say the truth but just omit a few things? No. Okay, lie by omission is still a lie. So we have to operate with integrity, okay? And then there's a lot of, well, it's always there. Let's say your ability to perceive the spiritual energies will be quite high this week. Okay, so you can pick up messages. And if you're saying, teach me the truth no matter the cost, show me the truth no matter the cost, and you're open to the spirit of things, of course, you'll be seeing the signs. So this is saying there's going to be a lot of synchronicity, a lot of signs, a lot of connection to the spirit realms, to the spirit world, to God, to the Holy Spirit. This camera's going to run out of power. I just have this feeling, isn't it? I can see it flashing. So I'm going to end there. Okay, there was one other important thing I think I said I had to say. Let me just check. No, make friends with yourself. I've said that. Christmas spirit. We'll talk more about the Christmas spirit next week. Okay, my lovelies, I hope you have a brilliant week. Father, bless us all. Teach us the truth no matter the cost. Show us the truth no matter the cost. Peace be with you all. Namaste.